There is a plastic box sitting on the back porch of my house in eastern Kentucky right this minute. It looks like a toolbox, the kind you would carry fishing tackle in. But there are 4 wall outlets on the front of it, and right now, that box is running Brenda's chest freezer with 200 pounds of garden vegetables and half a hog inside. It is not plugged into the wall. There is no gas engine in it, no fumes, no noise. Just one solar panel leaned against the porch rail, drinking up the morning sun. The stores want $2,000 and better for a machine that does what that box does. I built mine for $450 out of parts anybody can order with a screwdriver, a drill, and one Saturday afternoon. Today, I am going to show you the whole build, start to finish, every part, and every dollar. But stay with me clear to the end, because there is one rule about the order you hook these parts together, and it is the whole difference between a charge controller that lasts you 10 years and one that burns up the very first sunny afternoon. Hardly anybody ever explains it, and it is not printed big enough on any box I have ever bought. I'm Roy Mullins. I'm 59 years old, and I live on the 40 acres at the head of a holler in eastern Kentucky, where my people have farmed since the 1800s. I spent 22 years as an electrician in the coal mines before I came back home to run the old home place full time. Wiring and batteries kept me fed for 2 decades underground, and my papa Harlan taught me most everything else about keeping a household running on its own. Now, when the power goes out up in these hills, it does not come back in an hour. The ice storm 2 winters back took our lines down for 4 days. Down at the Crossroads store, folks were fussing over the last cans of gasoline for their generators. And a gas generator is a fine thing until you live beside one. It roars like a chainsaw all night. It drinks $4 gas by the hour, and the gas you stored last spring has usually gone sour by the night you finally need it. So the stores came up with an answer, and they call it a solar generator. It is a battery in a pretty plastic shell with a panel plug on the side, and they want $2,000 for it. Some want $3,000. And what chaps me about those machines is what happens down the road when the battery inside wears out. And every battery on this earth wears out. You cannot open the case. You throw the whole $2,000 in the trash and buy another one. You are paying for the plastic and the name on the front. Mine cost $450. Every part inside is a standard part, so when something gives out 15 years from now, I unscrew it and drop in a new one for a fraction of the price. My papa always said, buy the thing that can be fixed. That is what we are building today. And keep holding on to that question about the hookup order, because we are coming to it directly, and it ruins more first builds than everything else put together. Now, before we lay the parts out on the workbench, I want you to know where all of this comes from. Everything I am teaching you today comes out of the book me and Brenda put together. It is called Save $9,000 a Year, the Appalachian Homestead Manual. It is the old mountain systems my family has used for 3 generations to feed a household and run a home on almost nothing, written out plain, step by step. The garden, the pantry, and putting up, the root cellar, the smokehouse, the kitchen, the water, and the power, which is where today's build has its own place in the book. Those systems together save our household better than $9,000 a year. The book costs $17, marked down from $47, and the first method you try usually pays that $17 back inside a month. Now go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera, the same one you use to take pictures. Point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up, give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you are watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Take your time. There is no rush at all. I'll wait right here. All right, Let's walk out to the workbench in the shop and lay everything out. This whole machine is 4 parts and a box, and the easiest way to understand it is our spring water system up here on the mountain. The solar panel is the spring. It makes the power, but only when the sun says so. The battery is the cistern. It stores that power up so you can draw on it any hour you please. The charge controller is the float valve. It fills the cistern at the right speed and shuts the flow off before anything overfills. And the inverter is the pump house that turns raw battery power into the same kind of power that comes out of the wall of your house. Once you see it that way, there is nothing mysterious left in the whole box. Here is the shopping list, part by part, right off my own workbench. First, the battery. You want a 100 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery. That is 100 amp hours, and the chemistry matters, lithium iron phosphate, because it is the safe, long-lived kind. That battery runs right around $200 on sale, and it will cycle for 10 years and more. Second, the solar panel. One standard 100-watt panel, about $90. Third, the charge controller, a 30-amp unit, right around $40. Fourth, the inverter. You want a 1,000-watt pure sine wave inverter, about $90. Write down those 2 words, pure sine. A freezer motor and a CPAP machine want clean power, and pure sine is clean power. The cheap modified ones make motors run hot. Last, the box and the small stuff. A big plastic ammo-style box or a marine battery box, a few feet of wire, fuses, and a bag of screws, call it $30 all in. Add it up on the back of an envelope, and you land at $450. Now we build it, one step at a time, and there is no rush on any of this. Set the battery flat in the bottom of the box. It is the heaviest thing you own now, so it lives on the floor of the box where it cannot tip. Cut a piece of 1/2-inch plywood to sit above the battery like a little shelf. Screw the charge controller to one end of that board. Screw the inverter to the other end. Drill a row of small vent holes along both upper sides of the box because the inverter has a fan and that fan needs to breathe. Take your time with the drill and blow the shavings out when you are done. Now the wiring, and pay attention here because this is where folks hurry and should not. The rule my mind foreman beat into every one of us still holds. Every positive wire that touches that battery gets a fuse. Every single one. Run 2 lengths of heavy 4-gauge wire from the inverter toward the battery, red for positive and black for negative, and keep them as short as you can. Into that red inverter wire goes a 125 amp fuse mounted close to the battery. That is 125 amps, and it is there so a short circuit blows a $5 fuse instead of starting a fire. Run 10-gauge wire from the charge controller's battery terminals toward the battery with a 20 amp fuse in its red wire, and run 10-gauge wire from the panel toward the controller with a 15 amp inline fuse in that line. Tighten every terminal screw, then go back around and tighten every one a second time. Loose connections make heat, and heat is the enemy in a plastic box. Hold on now, because you will notice I said the wires run toward the battery and toward the controller. I have not told you to connect anything yet. That is on purpose. The order we connect these parts is the secret I promised you at the start, and we are almost there. First, let me tell you what this box will actually do for you in honest numbers. That 100 amp hour battery holds about 1,200 watt hours of usable power. Brenda's chest freezer sips around 80 watts while it is running, and it only runs part of each hour, so this box will carry that freezer through a full day and night with room to spare. It will run a refrigerator overnight. It will run lights, a fan, the phone chargers, and a CPAP machine all night long without breaking a sweat. What it will not do is run a big electric heater or a central air unit, and anybody who tells you a box this size will do, that is selling you something. Now, 100-watt panel filling a battery this size takes 2 to 3 good sunny days. So here is my honest advice. Run it with one panel to start. When you have another $90, add a second panel beside the first and cut that charging time about in half. On my porch rail, 2 panels keep that freezer fed day after day, the good Lord willing, and the sun shining. Now, folks, pay attention here, because this is the part everybody gets wrong, and it is the payoff I have been holding all video. When you connect this system, the battery goes on first and the panel goes on last. Always. Connect the controller's fuse wires to the battery, positive first, then negative, and watch the controller's little screen light up. Only then, only after that screen is lit, do you connect the solar panel wires to the controller. Here is the why, plain as I can make it. When a charge controller wakes up, the first thing it does is read the battery so it knows what kind of system it is standing on and how hard it is allowed to push. A panel out in open sun does not make a gentle 12 volts. A so-called 12-volt panel pushes better than 20 volts with nothing connected to tame it. Hook that panel to a controller that has no battery on it, and you are pouring that raw 20+ volts into electronics that have no reference and no place to send it. Some controllers die right there on the spot, that first sunny afternoon. Some are wounded and fail a month later, and you never know why. Battery first, panel last, and when you take the system apart, run it backwards, panel off first, battery off last. Say it once more with me, because it is worth repeating. Battery first, panel last. And that little piece of know-how right there is 1 page's worth of what is in the book me and Brenda put together. Save $9,000 a year. The Appalachian Homestead Manual. The whole power system this box grows into is written out in there the same way, plain and step by step, alongside the garden, the pantry, the root cellar, the smokehouse, and the kitchen. It is $17, down from $47, and every winter storm this box carries you through. That 17 looks smaller and smaller. Now go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera, the same one you use to take pictures. Point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up, give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you are watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Take your time. There is no rush at all. I'll wait right here. So that is the whole machine. 4 parts, 1 box, $450, and the golden rule, battery first, panel last. If you put one of these together over the weekend, come back and tell me how it turned out and what you ran off at first. I read every single one. And next time, I am going to take you down into the root cellar my Papa Harlan dug into this hillside by hand and show you how it keeps potatoes firm clear into April without 1 watt of electricity, including the one mistake in the dirt floor that can rot a whole winter's harvest. Y'all take care now, and God bless.